You are.
Okay. Before we start, I'm just gonna tell you guys a quick little story. And there was this one little boy who was walking with his parents home from the theater, and a gunman comes up to him and shoots his parents dead. And as he witnesses that, he swears to avenge his parents' death. And this boy's name was Bruce. And Bruce began to train his mind and body to top physical and mental conditions, and he becomes a crime-fighting vigilante in a bat suit, and we know him as the Batman. So many of us know who Batman is. We've seen him in TV shows, we've seen him in films, comic books, newspapers, games, etc. But how many of us actually know where he was originated, who created the original Batman? And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be reviewing the evolution of Batman from a comic book character to mass media. So, Batman's debut was officially in May 1939 in Detective Comics, and he didn't actually have his own title till a year after, in 1940, with Batman issue #1. And the writers for both these books were not mentioned until much later, and we find out that it was Bob Kane who actually created the whole Batman character, and it was Bill Finger who wrote the very first stories. And from here on out, we still have constant comics being produced. And I have a quote from Kate Robertson of Investopedia, and she states that the comic books made $2,699,234,002 up until the Batman Michael Keaton film in 1989. So in that 50-year period, they've racked up quite a lot of money just from the comic books. Now, not everyone read the comic books, including myself. I was introduced to Batman in the TV animated series, and that's what I'm going to be talking about next, is the Batman animation films. Now, there are more Batman cartoons out there, but I'm going to be talking about the Batman animated series because it's most relevant to our time. And the Batman animated series started in 1992 and lasted about 3 years. And the new creators of this were Bruce Timm, who created the new Batman, and Paul Dini, who wrote the rest of the stories for this Batman. And IGN staff states that this series also went a long way toward redrawing the boundaries of what Batman was. So why they're saying this is because this Batman was going off the Tim Burton's Batman film 1989, and it took a more darker tone into the Batman series, which they've never done before. And IMDb rates the Batman animated series a 9.0 out of 10, so it was quite popular. And from then on, we have 1997 to 1998 Batman, which was just a redesign of the Batman. Story was pretty similar and still had a dark tone. And then Batman takes a leap into the future in 1999 with Batman Beyond, with Terry McGinnis taking the Batman mantle and Bruce Wayne being inside the Batcave, guiding him through. And then in 2001, there was the Justice League of America, which was the Justice League like Superman, Green Lantern, and all that, and of course Batman was involved in it as well. Now, the cartoons were mainly towards the kids, main audience was kids, and not everyone had access to cable or television, and most of us were introduced to Batman in the film industry. So, many of us are familiar with Batman from maybe Michael Keaton or the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. Well, did you guys know that the very first Batman ever to hit theaters was the Batman serial in 1943, and it consisted of 15 episodes, and that was the very first ever to hit theaters. It was in black and white, and it was during, this Batman kind of depicted more of a wartime Batman. And then we move on to the famous Adam West Batman, and I quote from Andy Isaacson of Atlantic Studios. I'm sorry about that. They stated that the Batman Adam West was a more international Batman series because they produced it all around the world so people could see it, not just in the United States, but other countries as well. So we can see that Batman took a lot of popularity there. And then finally, after a 21-year break, Tim Burton produced the Batman 1989 and Batman Returns. And Anna Chan of Today states, Keaton relaunched the character's popularity. We never forget Adam West, but played Bruce Wayne once more in 1992's Batman Returns. So we can see that after 21 years, Batman's hype was back up again. And IMDb Access of the Atlantic states that Batman Open released on June 23rd, 1989 and broke the opening day box office record, which was $40,489,764. So if you guys can see the third column, or the third row in the third column, that's the opening day box office total that they made. And I'm gonna go back to the pictures. And these two films made a big success, but the next two films after that were absolutely horrendous. Joel Schumacher's version of the Batman with Val Kilmer and George Clooney, which was Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, were probably Batman's worst films during the time. Okay, so IGN staff states that Joel Schumacher's sequel that nearly destroyed the Batman movie franchise is difficult to watch even if you're doing it for laughs. So just by hearing what they're saying, these movies almost destroyed the Batman film franchise. So we can see how that was pretty bad. And then Cliff Wheatley of IGN states, Schumacher himself has since admitted that 2 movies is garbage and was basically a total commission. So even the director himself considered his movies to be trash. So you can see it's pretty horrendous. So from this, based off of that, we can see the Batman wasn't always popular, but he had his ups and downs. And then after an 8-year period, Christopher Nolan comes to the rescue with his Dark Knight trilogy. And he opens with Batman Begins in 2005. And then in Dark Knight, which was his second movie, is ranked #1 in total gross with $533,345,358 just in theaters. So we can see that Christopher Nolan really did bring back Batman after 8 years. And these are a list of the other Batman series, comic books, TV games that are included. But I couldn't mention all of these because there is limited amount of time. And we can just see that Batman has quite a long history. And it wasn't a smooth sail, it was a bumpy ride. But through that, we can see that Batman still remains popular today. And I'm just going to end with a quote by Travis Langley, author of Batman and Psychology: A Dark Stormy Night, states, Batman made himself super through the years of hard work and sheer determination. He built himself into the person he wanted to become, and that's inspiring. And I believe that's one of the main reasons why Batman was so popular throughout the years, was because he's a superhero without any superpowers, and we were able to relate with him through that, and his human characteristics.
You dropped some papers. Was that me? Oh, just kidding, never mind.
Oh, I don't know.
Sorry. That's good. I like Batman. I like superheroes without powers but lots of money. Like Iron Man. Iron Man. That was awesome.
So Jose, what did you think?
I thought his thesis was pretty clear. The review and the evolution of Batman. I hope this doesn't come as biased because I love Batman, and as you can tell, I was having little panic attacks while you were doing your presentation. I think some of the names that you mentioned really stuck out, like Bob Kane, the creator. I think a lot of us would be able to recognize him if we hear about him in a week or two. You know, what I really liked was that it was easy for me to pay attention to your presentation because I like Batman, you know? But if I weren't to have liked that superhero, you still grabbed my attention with statistics and with money and with numbers, you know, and the numbers were really high. So that kind of forces the audience to grab their attention, and I like that you had very small use of note cards, which was awesome, you know, and I liked your little system that you had going on, that you read and then you put it down, so you know, in your mind it was like, okay, so, let's keep going. I really like that. Obviously, you had an awesome use of visuals. Hope I don't come off as biased. You were really thorough on the Batman background, which was the evolution of Batman. So that's 100% in my book. I know we're not focusing on the delivery as much, but it was very clear that you had great confidence in your presentation. Mainly, not only because you could tell that you practiced, but because you were a little passionate about it too, and that came off to the audience, especially to me. I liked your use of transition. There was a couple transitions. One that I liked is when you said comes to the rescue with Dark Knight, the Dark Knight trilogy. I thought it was kind of cool because it's Batman, you know. So it kind of, you know, it kind of goes along with it. And I just liked how I don't remember you stuttering or, you know, tripping up. So I thought that was really good. You used 3 quotes, and they were all very. You gave us the source, and that was really cool. And yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, well, let me offer my comments on Jose's evaluation first before I talk about Steve's presentation. That's the way your evaluation ought to be done. That was thorough and complete. He offered his opinion. He offered an explanation for why he felt a way about something. You did a really good job on that, by the way, so pat yourself on the back for that, but don't hurt yourself while you're doing that. You know, and I would probably agree with almost everything you said. I didn't see any particular problems. You made an extra effort to come in and get some assistance on your speech, and I think it paid off because I think the speech ended up being better organized than you had originally planned. You know, a minor issue on the visual, you do have that one Batman character in the middle of the timeline that there's no reference to him. Most people are going to go, what the hell is that? You know, and that's Fat Man, you know, not Batman, you know, that sort of thing. So either that would be one of those things that you try and Photoshop out, or if you leave it in there, you could just make a passing comment, you know, that there was this other attempt to, you know, do something with Batman in kind of a humorous, different sort of way, a cheapo way, that sort of thing. Just as in passing, that's a very minor criticism. I thought you did a very good job speaking to the audience. You included a good deal of information. Don't forget to cite the source of the data that you had for the box office stuff, because you had information about the ratings from IMDb, and you had some other information, authors that you quoted, that sort of thing. That was pretty good. That was like the one thing that I know you had it there. I know it. I mean, I know where it comes from, but it's just like one of those things. Make sure that the audience knows those kinds of things too. You could always put in a little bit more here and there, but you're right. There's a limit in the amount of time that you have. Maybe I'd have skipped out on that last slide with all the icon images, since you're not really going to be able to talk about them, or maybe use that in the opening as part of your attention device and say, there's no way we could possibly talk about all of these things, but I want to focus on 3 particular elements and then do that. All right, thank you.